What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and today we're going to be giving the once over to 5 movies from 1996, which you probably haven't seen.
Give it a good once over.
Giving us the once over.
Giving him the once over.
Give me a once over.
Down to give us the once over.
For a routine once over.
Once over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
Alright, I totally love this series. I miss doing these. These are some of my favorite reviews to do. I love being able to talk about just a couple of movies really quickly, movies that I love, but I think that a lot of people have missed, and therefore you might not have seen them. I would love to know if you have seen them, what you thought about them, and if not, let me know if you were inspired to watch any of these because of my little notes on them. As per usual, why did I pick 1996?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I literally just clicked on a year on my Letterboxd. That was the thing that I did. The first movie on my list from 1996 is The Dentist, which is directed by Brian Yuzna. I looked it up because I'm stupid. It says that it's a very easy pronunciation and I still can't do it. Brian Yuzna. The Dentist is directed by Brian Yuzna. Yuzna famously produced Reanimator and From Beyond and Dolls, and also was the amazing director of the movie Society, which I absolutely love and hopefully will be reviewing soon. And somewhat similar to Society, it does have elements of body horror. Despite the fact that this movie is about a dentist who is OCD and obsessed with perfection and cleanliness, it manages to be just as political and just as much social commentary as Society does. My first experience with this film was seeing it on the Blockbuster shelves. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was so extremely drawn to it because my grandfather was actually a dentist in the 1950s and 1960s, and he still had all of his old-ass 1950s and 60s dental equipment in the basement of his house, and every time that I would go over there, he would clean my teeth, and it terrified me of the dentist for many, many years. For me to know that there is a horror movie, a classic horror movie that has all of the elements of horror in it, that is about a dentist who becomes homicidal, was like my biggest fear. A lot of people criticize it for having a lack of cohesion, but for me, it feels every ounce of that slasher sort of feel and realism. But I will admit that it does fall a little bit more into the drama category. I will warn you, there is some dog death and some SA stuff going on. It's a horror movie. We expect things like that in horror movies, right? I never like the dog death, but it happens sometimes. We have to get through the dog death to get to the dental practice, right? And in addition to that, we get to see a very young Mark Ruffalo. This was one of his first films. I think it was like his second or third movie that he ever did. And he plays a really interesting character. Certainly not as good as his acting chops have begun since things like Poor Things have come out.
I feel this conversation has become circular.
It's still very fun to see his roots. Of course, the lesson of this movie is that you should never let the pool boy fill your wife's cavity. Did I for real have something in my tooth the entire time that I was talking about the movie The Dentist?
Clean, white surface. There was the stench of decay.
He's gonna fucking get me. Next up, we are going to be talking about the documentary Paradise Lost: The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills. This is the first documentary in a series of 3. It might be 4 now, I don't remember. The documentary was directed, produced, and edited by Joe Bellinger and Bruce Sinofsky, and it is, of course, about the trials of the West Memphis 3. If you're not familiar with the case of the West Memphis 3, it is a case of 3 young teenage adults who were accused of the May 1993 murders of 3 prepubescent boys as a part of an alleged satanic ritual in a very small town in Arkansas. The 3 accused teenagers were Damien, Jesse, and Jason, and they were sentenced to varying degrees of life imprisonment as well as death. Damien was actually sentenced to death. This case really resonated with me when I was a teenager because a lot of the reason that these 3 boys were accused is because they were living in a small town, they liked metal music, and they were interested in witchcraft, which is basically who I was as a teenager. I became completely terrified of the idea that I could be wrongly convicted of a crime that I did not commit because of this case. And in actuality, these 3 have been exonerated, so for many, many years they were truly imprisoned for a crime that they did not commit, and now they are finally free. Not only did I feel like I could have been one of the West Memphis 3, but in addition to that, this is the story and the documentary that got me interested in the American criminal justice system and how shitty it is. Within the Paradise Lost series, I do actually prefer the second one to the first one, but this movie is the movie that sparked the movement for the West Memphis 3. It got us as a society questioning if people were being wrongly accused. So many people overlook that issue. Many celebrities supported the West Memphis 3, most infamously probably Johnny Depp and Eddie Vedder. And in addition to that, they were huge fans of Metallica, and Metallica actually allowed them to use Metallica music in Paradise Lost, which is the first time that it had ever been featured in a film. Flash forward 20 years, and actually the directors ended up doing Metallica's Some Kind of Monster, which, if you ask me, is a really shitty documentary. I think that these guys did much, much better on the Paradise Lost series than they did on Some Kind of Monster. It's a sucky documentary that chronicles the making of a sucky album, so.
I can sit here and stew in my anger and my frustration and my hatred all by myself.
I guess that's well suited. So why do I think that you should watch this documentary if you haven't seen it before? Not only did it pre-exist the current obsession that so many people have with true crime today, this movie sparked a movement. Whenever I watch movies like this, I do like to think about the thought exercise of, would you rather have a guilty man go free or a free man be put in jail? I think that that's a really important question that tells you a lot about somebody and how they think about the world. It's a hard question. I would rather see a guilty man go free. That is a debate for a different day, though, because there is a lot to debate. Next up, we have Cremaster 1, which is, of course, the first segment of the Cremaster cycle. The Cremaster cycle as a whole, which consists of 5 parts, was created by American visual artist and director Matthew Barney. This is an art film. If you don't like art pieces, you will not like this. Chronologically, the Cremaster cycle is a little bit weird. This is labeled 1, but it came out after 2. Nope, that's wrong. Okay, wait, I got it. It's labeled 1, but it came out second in the series, which was after the 4th Cremaster. That's it. It is an extremely ambitious project, but it is an art project. I'm counting it as a film. It's still a film, goddammit. Let's start out with what is Cremaster. I actually just learned this. The Cremaster muscle is a real muscle that only men have. I'm gonna tell you all about it in my best ever Dr. Steve impression. It's gonna be horrible. The Cremaster muscle is a paired structure made of thin layers of striated and smooth muscle that covers the testicles and the spermatic cords in human males.
And now, a message from Dr. Steve.
Hi, Kaylee. I understand you want to know more about the small but important body part called the cremaster muscle. This thin muscle is found only in males surrounding the testicles and spermatic cord, and its primary function is to regulate the temperature of the testes for optimal sperm production. When it's cold, the cremaster muscle contracts, pulling the testes closer to the body for warmth. When it's warm, the cremaster muscle relaxes, allowing the testes to hang further away for cooling. This is crucial as sperm production is highly regulated. You've seen the cremaster muscle in action, though you may not have known it. George Costanza screaming, "The shrinkage! It's the shrinkage!" was simply signaling that his cremaster muscle was working perfectly. Beyond simple sperm production, this cremasteric reflex, where the testes retract upwards if the inner thigh is stroked, or there's a sudden scare, likely evolved to shield the testes during potential danger. So while it might seem minor, the cremaster is a key player in male reproductive health.
Some people consider this to be a huge piece of art. It is a highly symbolic film that is a bizarre musical sort of thing, and it takes place on a football field, and there are Goodyear blimps, and it's beautiful. It's so stunningly beautiful. It doesn't have a lot of plot. I think that the best thing that I could do to describe it would be that it talks about fertility and birth, at least thematically. Some people consider this to be a major work of art on par with things like T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland and Un Chant Andalou, which of course is a 1929 French surrealistic film. But other people think that it's just trash, or vapid, I guess. I'm smart because I'm talking about art. A lot of people do think that Cremaster 1 is the weakest in the series, but for me it is by far the most memorable. I think that it is really stunning. I think that it is something to be seen. I think it's self-indulgent, but in a way that makes me not be able to turn away. I actually got to see this projected on 35mm, which was a truly incredible experience. I would highly recommend that if you ever have the opportunity to see any of the Cremaster movies on 35mm, that is an experience in and of itself. Moving along, we have Dunston Checks In. Dunston Checks In is a comedy film directed by Ken Kwapis. Kwapis went on to do things like The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and He's Just Not Into You. But don't judge Dunston Checks In based upon his later Failures. I'm gonna call them failures. That's right, I'm doing it. I haven't seen either of those movies enough to be able to actually judge them in any sort of substantial way. What is this movie about? It is about a hotel manager named Robert who is played by Jason Alexander.
The Shrinkage. It's The Shrinkage.
The Summer of George!
He works in a luxury hotel that is owned by Faye Dunaway. Let's not forget to mention that. And he is just trying to get a promotion, and he knows that he can get that promotion if he does really great in front of a hotel critic. So I guess like Gordon Ramsay style.
Get your head out your ass and start getting a little fucking real.
I don't know exactly what that is. The hotel critic actually has an assistant named Dunston, who is an orangutan, played by Sam the orangutan. He was in the Flintstones movie as well. Very, very infamous orangutan in cinema. He's great. It turns out that the hotel critic is actually a jewel thief, and unsurprisingly, Dunston, the titular character, thwarts his plans because he's quite mischievous. A lot of people, I feel like, mix this movie up with Monkey Trouble, which came out 2 years prior to it and stars, is it Thora Birch? I'm pretty sure it's Thora Birch that's in that. I haven't thought about that movie in a really long time. It's a good one. This is just a great comedy. Lighthearted, fun movie to watch. Yes, it is a little bit for children, but you can enjoy it very much as an adult as well. And there's just like 1,000 good slaps in this film.
Oh! Ouch! Oh!
Why is everyone in this hotel always slapping me?
The only criticism that I would really give to this movie, and honestly the true tragedy of the film, is that there is no point in the movie where Dunston actually checks in. Another reason that I really wanted to talk about this film is because there is a really great short film. It's only about 6 minutes long. I'm gonna link it down below. You should go watch it. That is called Dunston Checks Out, which actually premiered at the Taco Bell Film Festival. I love you, Taco Bell. You do not need to have seen Dunston Checks In order to be able to watch Dunston Checks Out. You don't need to know anything. It does not have any spoilers. I would highly recommend watching it, especially if you love film. It is just a really nice, wonderfully done little story that mildly involves Dunston Checks In. And finally, we are going to be talking about Trees Lounge. Trees Lounge is the directorial debut of Steve Buscemi. He directed it and stars in it as Tommy, who is an alcoholic dude who has lost everything in his life, except for the fact that he manages to get a job as an ice cream truck driver. It is about a man who suffers the consequences of his actions more than being about a man who has fallen on bad luck. It also stars Chloe Sevigny as the perfect Lolita-style seductress, Carol Kane, Anthony LaPaglia, and it feels a little bit like Cheers, but if Cheers didn't have like happy little wrap-ups where things were okay overall for people. It is that kind of bar vibe, that grittiness, that we're just hanging out in the Trees Lounge, which is a bar. Trees Lounge is cited as being an influence for The Sopranos, and of course Buscemi went on to later direct one of the most famous episodes of The Sopranos, The Pine Barrens.
Not bad. Mix it with the relish.
Plus, we get to see Steve Buscemi do the skeezy bar trick.
What trick?
I bet you that I could drink 2 big glasses of beer.
Yeah?
Before you could drink 1 little shot glass of beer.
I gotta see this. Come on.
There's one thing. You have to let me finish 1 beer first. You have to wait till I put my glass down before
right,
you.
wait.
Okay?
All right.
But remember, you can't touch my glass, and I can't touch yours.
Come on. Let's just do it already,
Wait,
right?
hold on. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You have to wait till I put my glass down.
Oh, come on. Hey, wait a second.
Oh, wait, no, you can't touch my glass.
Why not? That's not fair.
No, that's the deal. You can't touch my glass. I win.
That's good.
That's good. Fair.
I know.
Anyways, that is 5 movies from 1996 that I absolutely loved that I think you might not have seen and I think you would really enjoy. You should absolutely go check them out, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Check out other reviews that I've done. Let me know what you're thinking. I love to hear feedback. I would love to hear about other stuff that I should be covering. Thank you so much, and I can't wait for the next one. Bye. Trees Lounge is, oh my good God, that was 3 of the exact fucking same thing.